Good morning. Welcome to Tuesday, February 9th, 2021. This is our Board of County Commissioners regular meeting and Port Authority meeting at 9 o'clock. It is 9 o'clock. Jacob, I'm a little... Commissioner turn. There we go. That was pretty loud. I'm going to ask the Reverend Ted Stackpole from Compound Family Services to come up and give the invocation. And after that, the Pledge of Allegiance will be done by Commissioner Pickens. All rise if you're able to do so.
Would you bow your heads with me? Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you today for these commissioners and all that are here. And I ask today that they would be blessed, these commissioners would be blessed, protected, and successful in their role before you. I ask today that they would serve under your authority with honor, respect, wisdom, compassion, and godliness. Help them to use good judgment, pursue justice, love mercy, and to walk humbly with you. Be with them as they watch over, protect, lead, and serve the citizens of this great county. May they be able to establish ordinances that honor your laws and strengthen families and towns. Bless them for being godly examples in their roles and responsibilities, and bring unity and synergy to the work and decisions that lie before them today. I declare that Putnam County will continue to move forward towards good health, stable jobs, higher education, and thriving families. In the name of Jesus I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Reverend Stackpole. Thank you, Commissioner Pickens.
I think you should thank Alex Sharp, too.
Would you please close those, Jacob, could you close those doors, please? Is that coming in the chamber?
I can hear him.
Okay, Commissioners, the first item of business is the approval of the minutes that are listed in the agenda from pages 4 to 28.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
We have a proper motion by Commissioner Pickens, proper second by Commissioner Rawls. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. We're going to take a little, we're not going to go to a break. We're going to go straight to jump over Port Authority because we have a 9:05 certain. We're going to go to presentations by Ms. Cheryl Lynch, the SBDC quarterly report. Thank you, Ms. Cheryl. Sorry to catch you off guard like that, but you were going to be up soon anyway.
I was born ready. It's okay. Thank you for having me today, gentlemen. Hope you're all doing well. Fourth quarter for 2020. I would like you to look at the loans received number. A lot of that was not disaster funding. That was investment into the community with new businesses and things of that nature. I would like to let you know that there was over $40 million in disaster assistance that went to Putnam County businesses that I had access to knowing about. So it's probably a lot higher than that. And even though we had a pandemic, we still did have 3 success stories. So we had 2 business starts and a business that was able to refinance his debt due to high interest rates. Couple of housekeeping items. Our annual survey has gone out. The 3rd attempt to collect the data was going out today in an email. It closes on the 23rd of this month, depending upon when the state office can gather all the information. Hopefully maybe next quarter, but by definitely the 3rd quarter, we'll have those sales increase numbers that we collect during the survey to be able to share with you. PPP round 2 has opened. It closes March 31st as of right now. Everything going on with this disaster is fluid. We have webinars with the SBA almost every other day, it seems, because things are moving and shifting. The EIDL advance for those businesses that didn't get the full $10,000 that they requested the advance for, the SBA is going to be reaching out to those businesses for the difference to give that to them. Don't know when that's going to happen. It's entirely up to the SBA. The economic injury disaster loan, the EIDL, has been extended through December of this year. For those businesses that haven't already applied, can apply to get those funds. There is a shuttered venue operator grant that is available now as well through the SBA, and they are giving 45% of gross revenues up to $10 million per business for businesses like movie theaters, event places that were closed almost the whole time and couldn't have any kind, I believe it's 90% reduction in revenues in order to qualify for that. The Florida Bridge Loan that was launched in March of last year, those due dates are approaching very soon. I've let businesses know if they are finding that they're going to have a struggle paying that debt in full, to get in touch with me. I'll help them refinance it to give them an extension on that. As of right now, those dates haven't changed, but I do know that a presentation was made to the governor to extend that. So we're just waiting to hear. Also last year, SBA made payments on loans for 6 months for any businesses that had any type of SBA loan, whether it was a disaster loan, a 504, a 7A, any SBA loan, guaranteed loans that happened, the SBA made 6 payments. For those, they're making 3 more, January, February, March of this year. For anybody, any business that since had an SBA loan after last year's deadline or obtains one by September 21st of this year, SBA will make 6 months of payments. That's the actual payment, not putting at the end of the loan. They're actually making the payments for you. We still have our specialists on staff until September of this year to assist. For example, I've got one business that's going through a DISC assessment at no cost to them to understand how they can work better together with all the employees. We've got marketing specialists, lean specialists, sales specialists that are really focused in a niche to help businesses moving forward. So I keep reminding businesses, if you need that help, let me know. We'll figure out how to get you that free assistance. And finally, Janice Donaldson, our fearless director of the last almost 40 years, is retiring at the end of this month. I believe she was going to be here today, but I think the fog had an issue with traffic. Our new director has already been hired and started. His name is Houston Pullen, a younger, fresher face. So we have mixed emotions at the SBDC, but we're really excited about what's to come. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions, Commissioner?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Commissioner Ross.
Mr. Pullen, does he come from the hospitality industry by any chance?
Actually, Mr. Pullen has worked for the SBDC out in Vegas,
Okay.
and he's actually coming from the FBI.
Okay, that's not the one I'm thinking of then, but I know someone else named Houston Pullen, so, okay.
No, he's within the government, so
Mr. Adams?
he can hit the ground running.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for everything that SBDC is doing for our community and our county for the small businesses. I do like the idea that we had 3 success stories, and I understand from our conversation that, you know, that's just the success stories that that agreed to talk about themselves. So there's a lot of work being done with small businesses. I think we see it, the growth in our community with different businesses opening up. These 3 are an example, but there's also other ones. So I'm very excited for what you guys are doing. Thank you.
And if you notice these success stories, these are long-term relationships. Working with Andrea and assisting her with getting the brewery open, this was almost a 3-year process. Same thing with Kadaria Wiggins. He was part of our Teen Entrepreneur Summit program that we did at Palaca High School, focusing on the Housing Authority students, and graduated, went to culinary school, started his business. So it's not just, hey, I've got a question, okay, thanks, bye. It's a relationship that the SBDC is forming with the businesses in the community. I feel like I need to see what's going on too. Okay. Sorry.
Mr. Rawls?
No, I would be remiss if I didn't congratulate you on your success in Putnam County, because I can't speak for St. John's or Nassau or Duval County and the successes they have with their small business, but you do a terrific job. Can you give us an update on the Innovation Center?
We're still trying. That's all I can say.
traction at all?
It's just the funding. We're still waiting to hear on one grant that was out there. With the pandemic, everything's been delayed, so it's all up in the air. But Mr. Dinkins and I are still trying to find funding, making those connections, and seeing how we could actually make it happen.
Thank you.
Cheryl, let me say thank you. I know it's been a hard row, and last year was kind of difficult. Sounds like there's a lot of money out there and a lot of opportunities for businesses to take advantage of. So I would encourage you, if you're watching from TV or watching on YouTube, contact Cheryl, contact the chamber, get with the people that can help you be successful. You never know until you ask. And sometimes you have to ask 2 or 3 times to get the answer. So be persistent. But thank you, Cheryl, for coming
No
and
problem.
sharing with us today. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you. Okay, gentlemen, it is past 9:05, so we're going to go back to our Port Authority. I'm going to recess the Board of County Commission meeting. We're going to open up the Port Authority meeting. The first item on the Port Authority is the approval of the minutes as stated in the agenda, pages 29 through 34.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Proper motion by Commissioner
Second.
Pickens, proper second by Commissioner Adamczak. Any further discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Is there any public comment on Port Authority items only? Public comment on Port Authority items only, and we have one blue card, Mr. Wayne McLean. Mr. McLean, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Wayne McLean, 285 West River Road. I've got my chamber hat on today. Wanted to talk to you about the Port Authority in relation to the business park. So a lot of good things are happening lately out at the business park. I know Chairman Harvey, you're familiar with BOCC Medicare coming in and those types of things. This year, as chairman of the chamber, I've had the opportunity to work a little more closely with Dana in entertaining some of the potential businesses coming to town. And with that, we had one a couple of weeks ago come to town, and I called Julie Holmes Young, and I believe you, Mr. Chairman, and asked your help in kind of cleaning up the entrance to the park, and that was done, and I appreciate it. But I wanted to just take a moment. Let me see here if I can do this. Just wanted to, hopefully commissioners can see that, entrance to the business park. Let me see here. Where's slideshow, JT? Huh? I'll let you do it. Okay. So that's entrance to the business park. What I wanted to show you, though, is this is something I would like for the Port Authority to consider putting some ongoing dollars into the maintenance out at the business park. This is the, as you can see, the medium there at the business park. Even though it was cut down, there's a lot of branches, those types of things. Unfortunately, for those of you who've been out there, you know that's all through the business park. You can see that. This is the mediums. You can see the grass hasn't been cut in a while. Again, I'm very appreciative of what the county did on short notice to get out there and do that. These are, unfortunately, there are outside trash cans out in the business park, and so there's a lot of trash laying around. I would like for the Port Authority to see if there are dollars to put some very nice trash cans in the business park area. And the shrubbery, when it was put in, was very nice, but you can see actually that the trees now have feeder stalks coming off the bottom, and of course weeds going through the mulch. So it doesn't, I guess my point is, it doesn't really make a great first impression when you bring businesses out there. I know you guys know that, and I would just ask that maybe you could take a look at putting some money there. In addition, I would like to compliment Colonel Wells. With some of our new clients that are coming in out there, we had some, on the weekend, some people that were just kind of taking over the business park with ATVs and so forth. Colonel Wells has helped done that. So I've personally taken 2 food distribution companies through there that are looking to open food distribution sites within the park. So there is activity happening. BOCC Medicare is looking already at expanding the number of people they're initially going to hire. So I'm just asking the Port Authority to consider putting some ongoing funding into maintaining the business park. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. McLean. Any questions? Mr. Ross?
Wayne, thank you for your comments. This has been a sore spot for me for quite a while.
Yes, sir.
I think we do have the money, by the way, in the Port Authority. We're currently discussing hiring a full-time Port Authority manager, which would be able to oversee things like that.
Good.
Because it's been a concern of mine that the assets that the Port Authority have really been neglected. And one of the things that I want to talk about later you'll hear is the water out at the port itself. So
Right.
thank you very much for your attention to this, because
Appreciate it.
I did take a customer out there on a weekend that came into town from a long way away to look at that, and there was races going on out there.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing to say the least, but
Yeah.
how do you unwind that clock?
Well, it's the, I think Colonel Wells, I'm going to speak for him, he calls it the broken window syndrome. So if you clean it up, it's most likely people won't be there. But these are some very prestigious companies that are now interested in coming here, and it's kind of exciting. But, you know, it's like when you went out, well, it's way back in the day when I was dating in high school, I only had one chance to make a good first impression with the person I wanted to take out, and that didn't happen all the time either. But anyway, so I appreciate everybody's due diligence of that. And again, I want to thank Julie Holmes Young for jumping on that and helping us get it cleaned up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. McLean, I agree. I rode out there Sunday afternoon on my way back from Palaca, and again, there was motorcycles and
Right.
Really?
ATVs, and they were racing, and there was a van. But it was a mess.
Yeah.
And and I appreciate any time law enforcement can go make a pass through that on the weekends, because it looks very, very bad.
Yeah.
But commissioners, we have an opportunity right now we are the Port Authority, and we can direct to get some updates or some prices on cleaning that up. And I would strongly suggest that we do that. Commissioner Rawls, you have the floor.
I would definitely like to support the idea and make a motion that we either utilize an existing contract that the county has for that type of service. I don't know what the county has available, or put it out for bids, get a definition of the scope, maybe at our next workshop, have a special Port Authority workshop, take a look at the scope of work and the cost. And so I'd make a motion that we move in that direction to get the place cleaned up and on a continuous maintenance agreement.
So your motion is to go ahead and put it out for bid, or is it, because we have people like Keep Putnam, I think Nicole's here today.
This
And
goes beyond that. I know that we have ongoing maintenance contracts with the county for lawn type services. Either piggyback on that, which or put it out for bids. But either way, you have a definitive scope of what's going to be done, and to get it cleaned up, and then on an ongoing basis. Because some of the pictures that Mr. McLean showed, the striping out there, it looks like an old abandoned business park.
I agree.
I'll second that motion for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Adamczak. So we have a motion and a second. The motion is to look at going out to bid or using a continuous contract. Mr. Pickens, you were first. You have the floor, sir.
Yeah, I agree that, something definitely needs to be done with that, because that's basically what that was out there, was an old abandoned park. I mean, I hate to say that, because I guess the call center was the only thing that was out there, right? So, and now with Camarco, with their investment, we sold that building, and that has paid off and paying dividends. And now people are noticing, and so it's time to definitely to get some type of program together to do the maintenance out there. I'm sure Julianne probably has some comments on that, but we need to make it presentable, especially with Wayne talking about, the type of clients that are coming down to look at it. They're going to make major investments, so we want to
All right.
we want to look and be the best that we can.
Jacob, make sure we're turned up so the audience doesn't holler out to us, please. Julianne, you had a point of clarity before I call on Commissioner Adams. Fix your microphone.
Oh. I'm loud enough.
No, can you come up to the?
I'm sorry. I'm going to share. Yes, sir, just some staff recommendation. At this point, we don't have a continuous service contract for land maintenance. However, we can, just for purposes of budgetary quotes, if you guys can give me some direction as to what you'd like to see, if you want all new landscaping or you just want it maintained and cleaned up, we can get some budgetary quotes. And I believe that even for annual services, we would be under the bid threshold, so we wouldn't need to tie up that time, and we could get it done much quicker for you.
Okay, before I call on Mr. Rawls, Mr. Adamczak.
Yeah, so I agree with that, and that makes sense to me. As far as getting it to a maintainable state, that's what is the most important first step. I don't know that Keep Putnam Beautiful is the right resource for that, only because they're doing stuff all throughout the whole county, and we have a problem in the whole county. And that's something that we need to be aware of, just like Wayne was saying. Not only when you come to the business park, on the way to the business park, there's also problems with trash and illegal dumping and other things. So we need to put an effort into that as a county commission separate from this. But in this case, when your end destination is to show someone a lot in that business park, it doesn't help if there's a pile of trash dumped right in front of that lot. So I absolutely agree. and think we should work on discussion and workshop to further this agenda.
Mr. Ross?
So I think a basic scope would be to repair and maintain or at least get operational the existing irrigation system. I've seen risers and valves out there for that. Clean up the palm trees. The entrance itself has a lot of the pampas grass that needs to be cut back. And maybe reseed, overseed the area in the front because it's really been taken up by weeds. And then as you go in, if we could clean the curb and gutter areas and then restripe the roads, that would give it more of a fresh appearance and brighten it up a lot. There's where I'm talking about is primarily is West Larson Boulevard going into where what's the intersect road that goes to Camarco? What's the name of that road? Where is the one?
K. Larkin? Yeah, K. Larkin.
Is that is that PRC?
Way or something.
Okay, well, yeah, maybe just to K. Larkin Way. I think that would be the curb appeal that Wayne is talking about, and you know, just make it look like something. Make it look like we're really interested in and we're ready to receive these type of businesses. And then, you know, one thing I've never heard us talk about is ongoing revenue for the Port Authority, because while we do have around $300 or around $750,000 in port funds, that money will go away one day. And so I'm just wondering if you guys have any knowledge, if there's ever been any discussion about any fees that could be collected from the businesses that are out there for ongoing maintenance, or how the port eventually generates money to keep this going once we get it going. So just for future conversation.
Yeah, I think that's a great future
Yeah.
conversation. Also, before I turn it over to Mr. Adams, did you have your button on? Yes. Okay, because both of y'all were number 2 at the same time. I would like to also, in the scope of work, look at pressure washing the sign out front and some of those sidewalks. You know, those new round sidewalk cleaners, you can do a lot of work in a little bit of time, you know, and before we start striping and painting, we need to really clean that up to that area, right, that intersection. So, Mr. Adams,
So is this something, because this is our Port Authority workshop in a way. So is this something that, and I like the way he worded the thing, but do we want to maybe make a motion that staff brings back some estimates for ongoing maintenance? And, because I don't know that your motion,
No, bring it back in 2 weeks or a transportation workshop. Let's have a special Port Authority workshop component to that, so we can move this thing on and not wait another
so I
month.
just would like a little more clarity on the motion itself as far as what our expectation is when we re-meet.
well, I think the motion is clear. To me, it was that we have an immediate work that needs to be done. We kind of gave you the scope of work to kind of gleam on. I'd like to see it back on the 23rd, and we will make a special Port Authority for that. And then going forward is a continued contract at that point, because I don't think you'll have time to put
Right.
all that together in a bid packet. But know that March, we wanted to go out for bid of a continuous contract to clean it up. But knowing it's going to take a lot between now and that date to get it all clean, because it's going to take a lot. The weeds are too tall and the place is just a mess.
And in that initial bid, could we get maybe one that has some updated landscaping as well as one
Yeah.
just to clean up what we have there? So we can compare the two. I mean, if it's a
Definitely.
minimal difference between the two, obviously we would go with refreshing it than just cleaning it up and having dead grass laying there.
Right.
All right,
Thank you. Mr. Suggs, you have a comment?
Yes, sir, just a couple of things is, we'll certainly get moving on those requests. I've already asked our public works director last week when we had the issue, or a couple weeks ago, to start working on some signage and things of that nature to assist the sheriff's office in maintaining the riders that are showing up out there. Also, I've been approached, and I just need consensus from the Port Authority this morning. Someone has requested that I seek whether or not the Port Authority be willing to look at the property that is surrounding the old call center that's out there now. We have property that faces St. John's Avenue as well as around the building itself that are vacant
Mr.
lots.
Suggs, before we talk about a new item, we do have a motion on the floor.
My apologies,
So
I
I'd like
forgot
to
that
go
you
ahead
had
and
made a
take-
motion. That's my apologies.
And then we'll go back to that,
Yes.
if you don't mind. So we have a proper motion, we have a proper second, and Ashley, do you have the motion? Okay, good. So all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, the ayes have it. Mr. Suggs, you have the floor.
Yes, I just need consensus from the Port Authority for me to have some conversations about those vacant lots out there that the individual is inquiring about. And if he's still interested or they're interested, bring some information back to you folks at a later date. But just want to bring you up to date that that's been a request.
Mr. Rawls.
Are you doing us purchasing the property on St. John's Avenue that has a for sale sign now?
It's a property that's between the PRC
Right.
building and St. John's Avenue, as well as there's like 2 or 3 parcels there that are contiguous, that wrap around, that run between the old call center and the new Camarco facility out there. So before they wanted to get any further in there, they wanted to make sure that you folks would entertain the idea of them coming in and looking at those properties for purchase.
But I think that's, one of the opportunities I've complained about in the past, that the Port Authority's not been out there trying to acquire properties where it would be advantageous. So I would absolutely love to hear it, the presentation.
And this commissioner will entertain anything that can make that business part move forward, trust me.
I
And
figured that
don't
would.
think there's a commissioner up here that does not want to have conversations.
Well, the area that he's talking about is right there on the corner, and,
But I'm talking about the whole place.
no,
I'd love
you're
to
right.
see all of it start going in that direction.
Thank you so much. I'll reach back out to them.
Thank you, Mr.
freezing.
Suggs. I have a comment on general discussion. Have we heard anything on the updated lease on the barge port area with,
St. John Shipyard.
St. John's? I mean, I know they were, Mr. Commando, you have the floor?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Because that lease was tied to, sorry, I broke it. Because that lease was tied to the concept of a dock master agreement, that was something that we had decided needed to go out to bid, and we're going to be working on that with General Services.
Yeah, I was kind of concerned about that and the control of that when we're trying to maximize. I had some concerns about that, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Any other comments on general discussion for Port Authority?
I do.
Go ahead, Mr. Rawls. You have the
On
floor. Thank you.
The water lines that are running out there, is there, I'm curious as to who's doing the maintenance on the water system itself. We have a large backflow preventer. When I was out there the other day, it was dripping. Is that something that we're responsible for? Does the city maintain it, and since they're selling us the water?
I believe we're responsible for maintaining this, from where it starts at the county over. I'll verify that with our public works director, but I believe that's the way it was in the past. I believe that's when Mr. Thompson was here. That's the way it worked, but we need to, I'll verify that for you and get
And the other
a
question
direct
is,
answer.
We were losing money on selling water, and I was at a meeting the other night listening to candidates speak about issues they're having in Willaca with their water meters, and it made me think, if we have old water meters out there that have not been changed out, chances are there's enough scale in them where the water will go by and the impeller doesn't turn, and we don't read their usage, but we're paying for it. So I don't know if the city has a master meter out there on their end, because I know that we're sub-metered on our end. I'm wondering if it wouldn't be smart for us to have a master meter, talk to the city about putting a master meter on their end, and then we pay one price. Otherwise, we really could be losing money, but not only that, not taking care of the water system itself. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure everything in the ground is probably plastic and is going to last an eternity, but we probably need to take a look at some ongoing maintenance on that water system.
Mr. Chairman, I absolutely agree with Commissioner Rawls. Commissioner Rawls, I'll get with our Public Works Director and schedule a meeting with the city's Public Works Director. We'll get a layout of just how that system out there functions. And if there's and we'll also get a maintenance schedule, if nothing else, a preventative maintenance schedule put together so we can make sure that works.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Suggs.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Rawls. If I can encourage y'all, please speak into the microphone because it's still kind of hard to hear when you're talking sideways on it. Port Authority Still Business, David Sender, is that your name?
David Serdar.
Well, I could not read your writing.
I know, I
apologize.
did it quick, I
But
apologize.
is this Port?
About Port Authority, I mean, I was a candidate for Lake County Water Authority, and I've run for office up in Illinois as a Green Party candidate. And you're talking about trash, only trash litters in my book. I just came back from Tallahassee.
You slow down a little bit. I'm
Yeah, you-
really having a
Well,
hard time
how
understanding
many
you.
minutes do I get?
You only have 3, sir.
Oh, well, I got a governor's card for you. You probably have one. He's a great guy, and, I tried to be appointed to the St. John's River Water District. I've been to Apalachicola before.
Okay, I need to know, what's your business on Port Authority?
Port Authority, water. Water is so important, and the trash,
Okay, the trash, yes.
only trash litters. I'm a certified commercial cleaner for over 30 years, own my own business. I clean buildings like this. My dad, a principal, taught me respect and values that I walk proudly with. I don't drink. There's so much drinking and drugging out there. A bottle bill, hey, any bills that have been sunsetted, I was up there with a joint in the state capitol with a joint administrative procedure, right? Within 5 years, they got to be looked at. I had a pass by the House Speaker, Chris Rawls. Well, I met the Senate President and the House Speaker. I'm an old fart. I didn't bring my dentures in because I just got here and I'm going to Gainesville from here. There's 67 counties in the state of Florida. I've been to about 13 of them. And, I was up in Tallahassee last year and the governor's talking to me. I'm worried about our kids. Water is important. The rivers, the Florida, the state of Florida, right here. I did my qualifying. I didn't do my qualifying. I did my petitions. I didn't do my qualifying. But I've run for office. Jerry Demings, I have his pin on my hat. Senator Baxley calls me his buddy. The environment is very important. And it's at the top of Governor DeSantis' list. Sheriffs, I've run into quite a few of them. I've been to St. John's. David Shore is retired, and now it's the St. Augustine Beaches.
Sir, we're
Mr.
trying to
Hartwell.
keep it-
But there's many meetings. I've been to them in the state capitol. I've got one at 4 o'clock tonight,
Mr.
later today. But I've
Sir.
got chief deputy's card, and after the joint meeting in the Jacksonville Union paper and St. Augustine Record, you will see Governor DeSantis' education and environment is very
You have about 43
important.
seconds left to talk about trash at the Port Authority, please.
Well, trash, we got to get rid of the bottle bills.
Okay,
Cans, bottles, all plastic. I'm trying to get rid of plastic bags in California, Hawaii, and Puerto Rico. All these since day one. This gets in our rivers. This gets in our water. Florida is the land of flowers in Spanish. I've been to St. Augustine. I've been to Naples. I've been to Key West before the 7-mile bridge was built. I've been coming down here since I was a kid, but now I'm retired. My Uncle Paul was the Illinois racehorse chairman, 1953 to 1961. Under Governor William Stratton, a meat rancher. My wife worked at the Playboy Club, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, and Harriet's Imperial Furs. His son, Neil, just retired.
Thank you,
My
sir.
sheriff knows
Sir.
everything. But
Sir.
there's the joint administrative meeting, and
Time's-
I've been to many.
you're going to have respect for this audience. Your time's up, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, is there any other discussion on Port Authority? Okay, we'll close our Port Authority, and we're going to go straight back into our Board of County Commission, and we're going to take a 3-minute break.
I apologize.
And going to take a little point of privilege on presentation. Ms. Dana Jones with the Putnam County Chamber of Commerce would like to come and speak to us about a very exciting Bass Elite that's happening this coming week. So Dana, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Chairman Harvey. Good morning, commissioners, everyone else. It's a privilege to be here this
Shut
morning.
that door. Excuse me, Dana. Paul, would you shut that door, please? Okay. Go ahead, Dana. I'm sorry.
Not a problem. It's just an honor to be here. I'm very excited to share some information with y'all on the Bass Elite. I know you're very aware of it. You're the sponsor of it. Our hospitality industry is certainly thrilled at the decision. I'm going to leave these cards here. They do have weigh-in times and launch times, so there's enough for y'all in the public. I'll lay them over there on the shelf. What I wanted to say this morning is what most people don't realize about the Bass Elite. When they come in to the market, they actually arrived this past Saturday and Sunday. All 104 anglers are able to fish. So Commissioner Pickens would have been so proud. Most of them actually parked correctly in the Tillman lot. So there were already crowds of people spending money in our hotels. Along with them, we have about 20 to 25 people who work in the maintenance yard. So they're here along with the anglers the full 7 days. So you can quickly see how those somewhat over 100 people times 7 nights make the close to, half of the 1,100 room nights we talk about at the end of the event. And they're also, of course, out spending money the whole time at restaurants and retail stores and all of our venues that have been hurt so bad this year. So then Wednesday, actually some are already here because my phone is blowing up with people with the Bass staff. So Wednesday we get Bass staff, we get the 100 or so marshals, we get the 20 or so sponsors, and that puts them in our market for the 5 nights. So you can quickly see how these 300 or 400 people give our hotels those 1,000 room nights. They spend at least $100 a day, if not more, just on breakfast, lunch, dinner. They shop in our stores locally, thank goodness. I'm told the anglers spend $150 a day on fuel alone, which is great. I find that hard to believe you can expend that much fuel in a day on the boat, but I haven't ridden around with one, nor do I care to. I just really wanted to tell y'all and let the public know so they understand this is actually a 7-day impact into our local economy, not just the 4 days when they're here. As you can imagine, this year will look a little different from February 2020 when we hosted them. We are going to follow all CDC guidelines. We're going to encourage social distancing. We're going to encourage face masks and hope that people will still come and have a good time. If people can't come, we certainly hope they will catch it on Fox Sports. Their network, of course, is carrying Bassmaster Elite. We can expect 9 hours of coverage on the show itself and reruns, which is very exciting. I just wanted to hit some of the high points. I'll be back post-event to wrap up. Thank you for giving me the ability to come a little early because I really need to run. But I just wanted to share those comments. And again, I hope y'all can join us Thursday through Sunday at any time. And again, the cards will have the date and time for lunch and weigh-in.
Dana, thank you for coming. Ms. Jones, thank you for coming to us today. Mr. Pickens, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman Harvey, yeah, thank you, Dana, and the Chamber and the TDC for, sponsoring this event. They're definitely a presence in town. Holly and I were out on the river Sunday and saw at least 10 to 15 boats that were fishing different spots. And as you say, the coverage, they showed the replay of the 2016 Bassmasters this weekend on Sunday, and it came on 2 different times. So, and it definitely is a showcase for Palatka, Putnam, and Putnam County because they did have some aerial shots from a drone of Crescent City and actually the water tower. So I think it's just a positive event for Putnam County, and looking forward to my personal invitation from Taylor Douglas to help park the trucks and the trailers, so you might put a bug in his ear. But
I will certainly do that. He would love for all of y'all to come help. We start at 5 a.m. Thursday morning. It's a late start, unlike the other tournament where we start at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
All right, thank y'all, and again, I'll leave
But
the
I
grace.
want to say before you leave, you cannot buy this kind of advertising. I mean, this is just phenomenal what takes place, and I encourage the public, get out there in the morning and watch these boats take off. It's the most exciting thing you've seen in a while. And a very orchestrated event. They do it very well. And then in the afternoon when they come in, it just brings that smile to your face that they're using us. And then those fish get returned back to the St. Johns River where they came from, and they swim back to their home, probably where they lived at. So it's very good. It's good publicity, and I just really want to thank you, the Chamber, I mean, I know it's hard to keep bidding for that, but, you know, we keep making a great first impression, or like you said, Mr. McLean, every year we have an opportunity to make another good first impression, and we do that. And people want to come back. And I saw one angler the other day, he lives here in this county, and he had a few trucks following him to his house. I saw him pull into his property. So that speaks volumes when people look at stuff like that. So thank you again
Yes,
for
it
everything.
does, Chairman Harvey, and thank you. BASS actually calls us a premier location for their event. And it's more than just the fishery. It's the community, it's the people, it's the effort by the county, the city, the chamber, the TDC, and everybody else coming together. Way back in the beginning, they wouldn't even consider us because of the infrastructure issue, and together we fixed that too. And just to speak to TV, you can't buy that. 9 hours is very expensive. But you can buy a little bit of commercials, which we have done, that will show on Fox Sports around our event. So stay tuned on February 13th and 14th.
But you know, in business, it's always better when somebody else tells the story than when we try to tell the story. And that's the best thing, and that's what I'm saying. When they see these pictures, I remember Dana had me say the prayer one year, and I started off, and then all of a sudden the helicopter was coming, and then I said amen, and that's all I could hear myself say. But it was really cool, because the helicopter swooped down and chasing the boats. It was fabulous. It was really cool.
Just going to have you come do a redo on that one.
Yeah, okay. All
Thank
right.
y'all again.
Thank
I
you
appreciate
again
it.
for coming, and I appreciate, thank you, board members, for allowing us to take that opportunity. Okay, we reached the point in our agenda where we're going to take public comment on agenda items only. So this is public comment on the agenda items only, and I have, let me go through my cards real quick. Okay. We have two people. Derek Slaughter would like to talk about the noise ordinance, so if you'd come up. Wait a second, wait, hang on a minute. That's not on our agenda, that's coming up at our public meeting, and we'll take you at that time. I apologize for not seeing that. And Mr. Slaughter, or Sylvester Slaughter, do you want to talk about the same thing, the noise ordinance?
Not necessarily the same thing, but it's got to do with something like that.
Okay, have you seen our agenda, sir? Yes, sir. Okay, is it one of the items A through L?
It's about the traffic on this road, how people be speeding, that's what I want to talk
Okay, we'll talk about that at public comments at the end of the meeting, sir. Thank you. So is there any other people that want to speak on public comments, consent agenda items A through L? All right, commissioners, what's your pleasure? Do you have any items you want to pull? Commissioner Rawls?
I have none.
Commissioner Pickens?
I have none.
Commissioner Adamsack? Item D is in dog?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Item D, so the chair will entertain, and I have none, the chair will entertain a motion on items A, B, C, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, and L.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval for A, B, C, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, and L.
A proper motion by Commissioner
Second.
Rawls on the agenda items as stated. Do we have a second?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Adamsack, proper second. Any further discussion on those items? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Commissioner Adamsack, item D, emergency service purchase of 4 fire quick response vehicles.
Yeah, so in my conversations with J.R. Grimes, I'm very excited about this. This is an example of where, and the reason why I want to bring this up, it's an example of where government actually goes and looks for ways for cost savings for our community. We're we're gonna repurpose some bigger trucks that are less cost-effective to run and more costly to maintain than what purchasing these trucks by themselves actually will cost us in the end. And long-term maintenance of it and everything else will be better from everything that Jared described to me. And I just appreciate that we're looking at things in that holistic way, where we're trying to see cost savings, not just for today, but for the life cycle of things that we purchase, like trucks or equipment. So just a thank you to Jared for doing his due diligence on this, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
And I agree with that. I think it's wonderful that you brought that up and you were able to repurpose. And there's a second caveat that we're buying locally, and that's even better too at that point. So it's a win-win for our community. We save money and we invest back in our community. Can't get any better than that. So, Mr. Adamczak, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, sir. With that said, I'd like to make a motion that we approve item D on the consent agenda.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a proper motion, proper second. On the motion, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, the ayes have it. Okay. Jacob, my screen's not working up here, so we're going to take a 2-minute break where he can look at this real quick. it looks like my screen's working. We're going to call our meeting back to order, and, well, okay, we have a 10 o'clock certain on public hearing on the internet cafes, so, yeah, we're going to go ahead and jump to number 8. Clerk of the Court is not here today. Let's go to appointments, commissioners, and I'll start with Commissioner Rawls. Do you have any appointments that you'd like to make today?
I have none.
Okay, Commissioner Pickens,
I have none.
Commissioner Adamzak.
District 5 does have an opening in Better Place Plan Oversight Committee, is that correct now, as of this week? So I would like to appoint Yvette Reyes as a District 5 appointment for Better Place Plan Oversight Committee.
Thank you, Commissioner Adamzak. And we're going to wait for the rest of it, so we'll take a 7-minute break. Back to order, the Putnam County Board of County Commissioners. Thanks for your patience. We did have a 10 o'clock certain public hearing on 2 items, and we cannot get started until that time. Commissioners, I want to make a little statement before we go much further on the Internet Cafe ordinance. I've had a lot of conversations with citizens, had a lot of conversations with law enforcement, had some with a city council member from Palaca. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know how everybody else feels. I'm not allowed to talk to you unless we're in a meeting. But this commissioner doesn't want these internet cafes, period. And I want to ban them.
I agree.
And I don't want to waste our county staff time presenting something if we have a consensus or a majority that we don't want to go forward and we want to go in a different direction. So Mr. Adamczak, you have the floor.
I think we should hear public comment, and then afterwards, I'm prepared to make a motion to,
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rawls?
I just want to say I spoke to one of the city commissioners as well, and to be quite frank, I was actually shocked at what I heard, but based on that and several conversations with the public as well as with the Sheriff's Department, I'm prepared to move forward.
Thank you. Commissioner Pickens?
I agree with Commissioner Adamczak. I'll be prepared to vote. I do want to hear the public comment. I do have concerns of an outright ban, but I'd like to hear the comments, and we can have some deliberations, discussions afterwards.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Toronto, why don't you go up to the microphone, give us a very quick overview, and then we're going to call public comments and see what direction the board's going to go into at that point.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Jim Troiano, Putnam County Planning and Development Executive Director. I have this opportunity today to come up and talk to you briefly about internet cafes. Just to give you a brief history, in August of 2017 and again in October, this board took citizen comments and from stakeholders, the sheriff, the community, concerning internet cafes. On November 14th, 2017, this board established a temporary moratorium for all internet cafes in the unincorporated portions of Putnam County for 365 days. That moratorium was extended again on November the 13th, 2018 for a year, on November the 12th, 2019 for another year. And then last year on November 10th, this commission extended the moratorium for 120 days and did give staff direction as to move forward with bringing back an ordinance. Staff has been working with stakeholders, the sheriff, our county attorney, since mid-2020, and we have come up with regulatory language in an ordinance. On December 8th, this board in regular workshop was presented the draft ordinance. You did receive comments from staff, from the community, from the sheriff, and stakeholders, and we were asked to come back with a regulatory ordinance, one for illegally conforming internet cafes. Following our workshop, we did diligently make changes to this ordinance, and then on January the 27th, we presented it to the Planning Commission. In a vote of 4-2, the Planning Commission sent recommendations back to this commission recommending a regulatory ordinance. They did make some changes to the draft ordinance. Those changes were incorporated, and those changes are in front of you today. So, Mr. Chair, we do present to you this draft ordinance. It is prepared and ready for your discussion and consideration.
One point of clarification, if the board chooses to go another way, we would ask staff to go back and write an ordinance to the opposing part, if that's the way this board is going. Is that how you understand it to be?
That is correct, yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
Excuse me, clarify that? When you say the opposing to outright ban, is that what you're
Well,
talking about?
if there is such a will of this board to go with some type of a ban, I don't know if it would be an outright ban or some ban, whatever the commissioner's motion would look like, it would only direct staff to go back and write, because we still have to have an ordinance in place.
Correct.
For that at that point. Does that answer your question?
Okay.
Okay. Going to take public comment right now, and the first speaker is Sibber Newsom would like to speak about the internet cafes? You will be instructed to have 3 minutes' time and state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Seaver Newsom III. My address is on file, and thank you for letting me speak. In 2019, Duval County, after numerous murders, crime, prostitution, drugs, everything you could think of was taking place at the internet cafes in Duval County. They shut them down with, like the ordinance I'm handing out right now, they declared them a public nuisance. They shut them down completely. The day they shut them down, they came out to Nassau County. There were some already out there, just a handful. It went to over 30 out in Nassau County when they shut them down in Duval County. And not far from my house, there was an attempted robbery. There was attempted murders, and the sheriff did an undercover sting. There was solicitation, prostitution, there was heroin. These people, they said, oh, it's good for the senior citizens and all the jobs. That's not worth one life. It's not worth someone being robbed at gunpoint. There was a robbery at gunpoint in Nassau County, not far from my house. These internet cafes, in my opinion, they're nothing but crime magnets. That's all they are. And you shut them down, and the people in the long run, they'll be glad because they won't be losing money. If the places didn't make money, they wouldn't be open. They're taking people's money they could be using on rent, prescription drugs, whatever. I suggest that you shut them down completely. Ban them. It's been tested. That ordinance I gave you has been tested in Nassau County. The internet cafe owners took it to court. They lost. So it's foolproof, just like the one in Duval County. I'll say shut them down. Let them go to another county. Get them out of your county. They're not good for the average Christian citizen. They're crime magnets, in my opinion. I would just shut them down. Tell them to get out. We don't want you here. They're not good for tourism. What are they good for? That's my opinion. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. I will ask the audience, if you have discussions, please direct them to the Board of County Commissioners, not each other. This room is hard to hear in. All the sound comes up here, and it's hard to pay attention to the speaker at the podium. You'll have your turn to speak to us if you choose to. If you need to have private conversation, go out into the foyer, and you can do that and come back into the building. So we appreciate that cooperation. Now I'm going to open up the floor for those people who did not fill out a blue card. Is there anybody that would like to come up to the podium, state your name, address for the record, and talk about internet cafes? Internet cafes. Come up to the... And if you're just first come, first served, so just come on up, but just state your name and address for the record.
My name is Sean Harris, 502 East Bay Street, Palaca, Florida, 32177. I have a problem with the internet, with him talking about internet cafes. That's a whole nother county. And with Putnam County, it's going to be a lot of us without, when I say us, because I work in one, it's going to be a lot of us without jobs. Are they willing to give us a job as of the day y'all decide to ban them? And then another thing, with Putnam County, it has caused a lot of drug dealers to come from out the street because they in there doing it right by trying to win instead out there selling drugs. So, and then on top of that, it's the game room. It give elderly people somewhere to go and play. It's just as well as us young people. I'm a player and I'm a worker. So I don't feel like y'all should ban these game rooms. And if you could, please say a prayer about it and think about it more by not abandoning it and not listening to what he just said. Because the game room is helpful and a resource for us.
Ms. Harris, is that your name?
Yes.
Okay, I want to ask you a question. Why would the drug dealer quit selling drugs to come in and win a teddy bear or something like that? Because you're not allowed to distribute cash. So how does that work?
Well, they have children, so if they win a teddy bear, so they can go home and give it to their child. So it's helpful. They ain't out there selling drugs and killing nobody.
Okay. We only control Putnam County. We will not control
That's what I'm saying.
municipalities.
But him talking about...
But there are some municipalities we do not have the ability to overreach on top of them. So we're only talking Putnam County ones right
That's what
now.
I'm saying.
Thank you, Ms. Harris.
You're welcome.
I have a
Thank
question.
you.
All right.
Yes, Ms. Harris? Commissioner Rawls would like to ask you a question.
Well, I don't follow the logic with the teddy bear. I'll just ask you point blank.
Okay,
Does anybody ever leave there with more money in their pocket than they walk in with?
yes, sir. I
Okay.
can't even lie to you, yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you very much. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
it.
thank you, Mr. Roll. Anybody else would like to speak about internet cafes, please make your way to the podium. Come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Tommy Curry, 3420.
Okay, wait a minute, do that over again, sir?
Tommy Curry.
Mr. Curry? Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that something similar to what she was saying. That's a whole nother county. You ain't found nobody dead in Putnam County from a casino. You don't hear about no prostitute and all that in Putnam County. That's something he talking about, a whole different thing. Well, he talking about don't have nothing to do with Putnam County. And like she was saying, a lot of people work there. A lot of people have to depend on that money to pay their bills, man. Just like Friday when the sheriff department came in there and took the people to jail. Them same ladies got kids. They trying to work and take care of their family, man. Why would somebody, let's go for you, as you was working there. You taking the money paying your bills. They need the job. Why would you take somebody's job away from them? Just to make a few people happy. And then when you look at it, it's not only blacks coming in there, there's a whole lot of older white people coming there and relax and enjoy their day. Why would you take that away from the older people? So that's all I got to say, man.
I don't think we're taking away anything. If it's been determined that some parts of it are illegal, and I think Commissioner Rawls made a good point just a minute ago that some people walk out with more than they walk in with, more money. That's not, you cannot gamble in Florida. So thank you, Mr. Curry. Mr. Rawls, you have the floor.
Tommy, we've known each other for a long time. You just made an assertion that this is a casino. And so is it your statement that you believe casinos are legal in Putnam County or should be legal in Putnam County?
Yeah.
Okay, it's illegal to have those in Florida. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Curry. Anybody else would like to speak about internet cafes? Please come up and state your name.
I'm not really sure.
Please put the microphone to you. Thank you.
I think mine's more of a question because I'm not really sure what the difference between these internet cafes are than a scratch-off lottery. Playing the lottery is gambling. I've never stepped foot in one of these casino cafes, whatever they want to call them, but when I walk away, you can explain the difference because I'm kind of lost there. And I do agree that it's hard. Like these people, if you're going to shut these down, these people are going to have a hard time finding a job. Like maybe these are people that are hiring people that have backgrounds, and this is the way that they have to provide for their family. There aren't many businesses around here that are going to hire someone that has a background. And if these people lose their jobs, how are they going to? I'm not really sure how I feel about it because I don't understand the difference between playing a scratch off, playing the lottery on Monday, and I don't even know when they play it.
Would you state your name and address for the record? I apologize.
Well, y'all know who I am. I'm Sheila.
I know, but you've got to, but for our record, you do, and I apologize. I should've-
Sheila Beck.
Thank
Here,
you.
I live here in Palaca.
Okay,
So I don't know, maybe afterwards or something, someone can explain the difference to me because
Thank
I'm not real sure, but that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Beck. Mr. Adams.
So Sheila, the difference is the lottery is is allowed by the state and by state statute, where gambling in general is not. So Indian casinos are also allowed by state statute. And I suppose if the right Indian organization, Native American organization came to the county, they could put up a casino if they did it the right way through the state. When the lawyer for the internet cafes in Putnam County came before us, I suggested the same thing I'm going to say now. This is something that they should be lobbying the state for if they want to get laws in place across the state, not local counties. This is low-hanging fruit for them to go after counties and basically under threat of lawsuit potentially, thinking we're going to cave. So that's the difference, in my opinion.
And let's be very clear. we do not regulate illegal activities. So if it's deemed illegal, we don't regulate that. And I only regulate legal activities from this bench. And that's the only thing we'll do is a legal business. So if they're deemed illegal by the sheriff's department, they're illegal. I cannot regulate illegal businesses, and I don't want them here if they're illegal businesses. So is there any other public comments on internet cafes? Mr. Killebrew, you had your hand. Come on up. And you know the drill. State your name and address for the record.
My name is Ed Killebrew. I live at 146 Barden Estates Circle. I serve on the city planning board, and a few years ago we had this come before us when they were running them out of South Carolina and places like that, making them illegal, and they were jettisoning to Florida. And they were opening, as we know, as y'all well know, I'm not telling you nothing you don't know, they were jettisoning here and blossoming and blooming, and you know, and we were accused because one of them was trying to open up next to the Tabernacle Baptist Church, which is now Life Church. We were accused of being the moral police, or I was, because I said that doesn't need to be in a church parking lot. You know, that was something that was, and it became a blight, and it became where the colonel and the sheriff and all them went over there and raided it, shut it down. To the point I'm trying to get to is the lady that just came up, men, they were talking about putting people out of work. I believe I read in the paper this morning where the sheriff was talking about putting certain things on them where, you know, they would have to maybe hire a part-time or hire a sheriff part-time or deputy on the side, some things that were put on them like that that would keep them within the structure of what they're supposed to be. And I think, I mean, I'm not for them neither, okay? I mean, I'm just going to come right out and say I'm not for them. I believe they're a blight on our community. But I think that if we do things like that and maybe put the same things that we put on, or that the city, and I believe the county did too, put on the adult bookstores where they're not right out on the front row, where they're not being seen as you come into town. I think if you do some things like that with an ordinance, they would shut themselves down. Because like she said, you know, the guy's coming in to get a teddy bear. There ain't many of them gonna come get a teddy bear. I think that once they find out the money is not there, they'll shut themselves down. They'll go out of business. That's just my opinion.
Thank you, Mr. Killebrew. All right, anybody else want to speak about internet cafes? Please make your way to the podium. We're going to be winding down our public portion in just a second, so please state your name and address for the record.
Marion Session, 2524 Golf Drive, Palaca, Florida. I just have a question. I was hearing you saying that it was some guidelines that right now, because we are paying cash, that's why they're saying it's illegal. What I'm trying to figure out,
I need you to speak into the microphone.
what I'm trying to figure out is, if we do let them stay open as arcades, internet cafes, whatever, everybody got a different name for them, and you didn't pay in cash or whatever, is we still gonna get arrested? Because that's my problem. I work to one. All I wanna know is they gonna go ahead and put us a guideline and say, well, you can stay open, but you can't pay cash and you can't do this here. It's entertainment only. That's really what I wanna know, because we're still being open. Then you're coming back and people getting arrested, then the charges thrown out. So that make me say, well, tell us what we're doing wrong. Don't just come in and arrest us and then we open back up. That's the problem that I have with it. I mean, just tell us what we need to do. And then if you're telling us what we need to do and we're not doing it, then yes, you're supposed to come arrest us. But if you're not telling us what we're doing wrong, how are we supposed to know that? If you know what we're doing wrong, you need to tell us. And that's not being told to no one.
Thank you, Ms. Session. Appreciate it. Mr. Adams, that?
So just for your edification, when most of these bans or ban on simulated gaming that I've seen do have a cutout for like Dave & Buster's type operations or Chuck E. Cheese and that type thing. And I fully expect that if you guys, someone came in and ran a family oriented establishment like that, that basically allowed kids to play video games and get trinkets and stuff, I'm sure we would all support something like that. And I think there is state law that allows for that. So absolutely, if that's the type of business that the owners of these businesses decide to come in and do, sure.
Okay,
Thank you, Ms. Sessions. All right, is there any other public comment? Please make your way up. Thank you, Mr. Wells.
How y'all doing?
Please state your name and address for the record.
LaShawn Arnold, 3042 Crossroad.
I didn't get your name.
LaShawn Arnold.
Mr. Hall?
Arnold.
Arnold?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Internet cafes, y'all saying that they're illegal for like gambling, giving out money. I mean, you got people saying the lottery. Like I go to the poker room, I play poker. I give them money, they give me chips. I give them chips, they give me my money back. All that's regulated through the state. Is there some kind of program, or what is it to do that we can put the internet cafes like in the same ordinance, fix them that we can do the same thing as them? Because basically it's all the same thing. I mean, it's skill game. That's a skill game. You got to know what to shoot at to get money, or bust to make profit, or whatever. I mean, everybody don't lose, everybody don't win. I mean, it's up and down. And it seems like they're really trying to be banned it because of personal matters between the people that has the authority to ban them. Like everybody on the board, y'all was elected for the people. The sheriff, he was elected for the people. It's not like nobody's trying to hear what the people are saying. It's personal reasons why they're trying to be banned it, or they're a nuisance when they're really too much of not a nuisance. Or Handaway gets robbed. Stores get robbed. I mean, that's life. It's not just the casinos. I mean, ain't no rooms, special rooms in there where nobody can go to lay down and do prostitution and stuff. We ain't serving alcohol, stuff like that. I mean, there's none of that going on. That's basically all I got to say about that.
Mr. Arnold. Mr. Adams, then.
My response should be very similar to my response to the prior young lady, is the way you would go about that, and there is a means, would be to petition the state and your state legislators, and or to get a constitutional amendment on a ballot through the state to allow for them. So that costs millions of dollars, and that's something that all these people that operate these type of establishments could pool together and do. But until that, in my opinion, until that occurs, I agree with the sheriff that they're currently illegal in the state of Florida. And the reason why I feel these gaming facilities, and that's what I consider them, have come after counties and not the state is because we're lower hanging fruit and we don't have the power to defend.
What makes the sheriff saying that they're illegal?
Mr.
by them
Arnold?
Yeah, so basically.
We're not going to debate right
yeah.
now. We're
Okay.
just going to, okay, you've said your piece.
All right, thank you.
But hang on,
Thank you very
Commissioner
much.
Rawls has a comment too.
So, Mr. Arnold, you operate one of these facilities? Is that
I
correct?
work at one. I've been working on one for like 5 years.
Just a simple
off
yes
and
or
on.
no question.
Okay.
Is it possible to manipulate the outcome of the game by anyone in any location ever?
No, it's
Just a simple yes or no question?
No, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank
you, Mr. Arnold. All right, we're going to close the public comment. Mr. Wells has the final say here, and then we're going to move into commissioner deliberations. Colonel Wells, you have the floor, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Again, Colonel Joe Wells, Chief Deputy, Putnam County Sheriff's Office. So, I'm not going to really go into a whole lot about, the jobs issue. Certainly that's a concern. I understand that the individuals may have. The fact that they're talk to employers every day that have open jobs in Putnam County. What I think the biggest concern here is, and let me say that I want to thank all of county staff for the opportunity to work closely with them in the drafting of this proposed ordinance. It's been a beneficial process for us to have been involved in. And we have participated in that from the get-go, always with the clear understanding that we were doing so as a second option, basically, as a plan B if the commission decided that they did not want to ban them. So I agree with the comment that was made earlier, and again, not going into specific crime occurrences inside of them. I do understand that there are people in attendance today who have valid concern and who support the operation of them. However, there are hundreds of folks inside the county that we hear from on a very regular basis that do not share that. The issue is that the other folks that have the complaints and the constant issue with us and the enforcement is they have the law on their side. The simple fact is that every operation that we have done, every investigation that we have done has proven that these facilities inside Putnam County are operating illegally. I also want to be clear that it is not a determination made on behalf of the sheriff. The state attorney's office has been consulted in every one of these operations, and they concur. In the previous arrests, not the ones done this past weekend, but the ones before, there was an agreement made between the sheriff's office and the state attorney's office that we would be satisfied with an arrest only in that case, so that we can continue to educate the operators of these. The operators have been educated. They have all been given letters. They were hand-delivered by the sheriff's office. We have done a lot of education, but they continue to operate illegally. So we made those arrests several months ago. We decided arrest sufficient on those as another opportunity for education to the employees that work there to make sure that they knew that what they were doing was illegal. Nothing changed. We made 7 more arrests this weekend. Some of them were repeated arrests from the first time, and the state attorney's office is not satisfied with arrest sufficient. These cases will not be thrown out in the upcoming group of arrests will be made this weekend. Prosecution will begin on those. So I say all that to say that I certainly understand that there are feelings on both sides, but as the sheriff's office, we are sworn to uphold the law. We may not always agree with the law. I may have different opinions on what's going on with legalization of marijuana, this, that, and the other. But when the legislature speaks, we enforce the law. It is clear that these are operating illegally. We support a full-out ban of them. Otherwise, again, like I said, we appreciate the opportunity to participate in the ordinance. If that's what the legislative body of this county decides, that the ordinance will stand, then we'll do the best we can to help enforce that. However, we still are convinced and have insurmountable evidence to show that they are operating illegally, and it just doesn't make sense to regulate an illegal operation in the first place. So again, thanks especially Mr. Toronto and all of his staff for allowing us to participate in the drafting of the ordinance, and we will certainly abide by your wishes, but we just want to reiterate that the evidence is overwhelming that they are illegal operations. We have an obligation to enforce that. We'll continue to have to expend the effort and the resources to enforce the state statute on top of any ordinances passed. And we ask you to please consider, at least until state law changes, an all-out ban of internet cafes in Putnam County. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Wells. I appreciate your comments, and I appreciate everyone's comments. We're going to move now to Commissioner deliberations, starting with Commissioner Adams-Zack.
Being that we heard public comment, I would like to make a motion that we reject the internet cafe ordinance that is presented to us today and direct staff and our county attorney to draft an order banning simulating gaming in the county of Putnam.
Second.
Proper motion by Commissioner Adams-Zack to direct staff to work on a ban of internet gambling? Or
Simulated gaming
simulated
is the way
gambling
I was told it needs to be
in
worded.
Putnam County. We have a second by Commissioner Rawls. Any further discussion on the matter? Commissioner Pickens.
I wanted to hear from Commissioner Rawls first. Did you speak with the city of Palaca?
Yes, I did.
Okay, what was their opinion on it? I understood that they were gonna promote these businesses. Is that incorrect?
Mr. Jones, would you like to speak? I noticed you
Commissioner
slipped in
Rawls, why don't you go ahead
the
and,
back room. I didn't know if you wanted to
well,
address that.
no. Commissioner Rawls, why don't you speak to your
So,
direct conversation?
In speaking with one of the city commissioners, what was articulated to me was that he felt like some of the more vulnerable individuals in the city and the county lay prey to these type of establishments, that they're not legal under Florida statute, and we did not have to allow this in Putnam County. You know, the city has issues as well, like we do, and you know, the crime factor affects all of us equally, whether you're in the city limits or living in Putnam County. So personally, I believe that, like Commissioner Adams-Zack expressed, if this was something that the state wanted to allow, we obviously would allow it, but then there would be a regulatory agency that would be able to go in and take away any possibility of any kind of wrongdoing with the machines being rigged to one side or to the other. Some of the complaints that I've heard are that people are able to go in and manipulate the machines, and apparently this has been done in the past and proven. So I fully support this motion and look forward to moving forward.
Commissioner Pickens, you still have the floor, sir.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Harvey. Mr. Toronto, in this ordinance, it has putting quite a few restrictions on the new ones that may open, or the existing one would have to come and comply, except for maybe some parking, I believe.
Parking, distances, parking.
Distance, okay. And then also, isn't there something in here?
I'm sorry.
Also, is limiting the hours.
Correct.
Okay, and then it's also making them on their dollar pay for a licensed security guard an hour before and an hour after closing. Correct?
Correct. Yes. Just to clarify, not distances, as it relates to off-street parking. So there are certain provisions in here where distances, yes, from certain things, but let me just read here again. This does not include 20D. That's correct. So distances are not included in that. It's just for off-street parking. And then there's other things as far as them being legally non-conforming.
Okay, and then also, there's also have to be a sign-in sheet for people coming in and coming and leaving. And then also manuals of the machine and how they operate will have to be present for either, I guess, a sheriff's officer to be able to review, or codes enforcement. So I know there's restrictions on these, and then is there not something else in here that if they do have, I guess, fines or penalties against them for illegal operation after a certain period of time, that they would have to go before the Zoning Board of Adjustment, and the Zoning Board of Adjustment could renege or revoke their
Correct.
license? Is that correct?
Mr. Chair, he is correct. Actually, there's 20 provisions that were placed in here, several updated ones from the Sheriff's Office at the last Planning Commission meeting, which have been incorporated, but overall, 20 provisions that they must meet. And then existing internet cafes would have to adhere to 3 particular clauses, which the ordinance addresses itself. But yes, there is an enforcement portion of this, as well as the investigation portion, whether either by the Sheriff's Office, by the Fire Marshal, or by code enforcement personnel.
Okay, all right, and I've never been in one and probably will never go into one, but we have allowed, for whatever reason, for these to operate, and evidently some of them, as they say, that they give cash out, and it says right in here, this merchandise does, and on page 6 of 13, page 127 on our packet, it says merchandise means non-cash prizes maintained, and it says cash. So they can't give cash, so if they're giving cash, evidently they're operating illegally. I just don't see how we could put all-out ban on these businesses right now. I thought this commissioner heard that we were going to look at an ordinance, send it back to the Planning Commission. They were going to review it, make changes, and they've sent this to us. I do believe that the chairman of the Planning Commission, Susan L. Roberts, stated in there that we would review this in 1 year if it passes, to see what other changes need to be made. And then I want to ask a question of legal. At that time, could we put an all-out ban on them then? Or can we put an all-out ban on them at any time we choose necessary?
Yes, sir, you can. And just understand that you have to go through the same process, and it would require an ordinance to be adopted. So you go through the same process all over again.
Okay. I'm not disagreeing totally with my colleagues, but I do feel that it's hard to just shut a business down like that. I think an opportunity to try to play, and I know there's feelings that they're actually, all of them are operating illegally, and there's no middle ground. They're operating illegally, and then you've got some people to say that they are, and they are providing some jobs. I'm sure that the element of somebody going into these places may not be, the best thing for Putnam County, but probably neither, going to a bar or those things like that. And I don't know how many times I go into a convenience store and I'm standing behind somebody spending probably more money than they should buying lottery tickets. So any of those things, I don't think that this commission can control. So I I was under the understanding and that we would give this ordinance a try, but we'll see in the vote here in just a few minutes, and let this play out for a year, and then look at it and see if there were some adjustments to make. So I don't know how we could just ban them totally, but Rich, I guess either way, we probably open ourselves up for litigation. Either way we go.
Unfortunately, that's probably the correct way to look at it. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, that's all I have right now.
Thank you, Mr. Pickens. Appreciate your comments. Mr. Adams-Zack?
Barring any further from the commission, I'd like to move this for vote.
I do have a comment, and I appreciate your call to vote, but I think it's very important that we look at, we're not taking jobs from people. There's still a moratorium in place. If this motion passes, there's a moratorium in place, and it's going to take us a while to do an ordinance for an all-out ban or some kind of a ban. So you'll be back to us with a ordinance in the near future that'll have some type of a ban on there, correct?
Mr. Chair, yes, the direction to staff was to develop an ordinance banning simulated gaming in Putnam County, but if I could just clarify that, that would be unincorporated Putnam County, because our ordinance would not apply to any of our municipalities or towns.
Yes, I believe Mr. Adams-Zack, yeah, is that your thoughts? Unincorporated,
Thank you.
yeah. Mr. Rawls, and we got a motion on, we got a call to vote. So Mr. Rawls, I'll give you just a second.
To your point, there's really no reason, if this passes, that we can't give some time to the current operators to give their folks a chance to relocate.
Well, Mr. Commando, I see you're eager to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That would have to be part of the ordinance, if that's the
Very good.
decision.
I want to hear
Okay, clarify that, relocate to another county, correct?
another job or another county.
Right.
Correct. Right.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a proper motion on the floor. We have a proper second. We have a call to vote. And so this chairman now will take a vote. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
Aye.
3-1. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Now we'll move on to the amplified sound ordinance.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
If you're
Mr.
ready?
Chairman. Yes, sir.
Jim Triano again for Putnam County Planning and Development Services. At the request of the Sheriff's Office, we were asked to work with them in changing some of the language in an existing ordinance that was developed in 2016 and adopted by this board on March 8th, 2016. Through the request from the Sheriff's Office, we did bring suggestions to this board on your December 8th workshop, and it was pushed back to us to bring it back to this commission for its final hearing. Mr. Chair, we did make several changes. We've added a few words. The biggest portion here is we reduced the monitoring time, or the times in here, from 15 to 5, and we've created some word changes to make this more consistent. So, Mr. Chair, we do present to you this ordinance that you have seen in its entirety at the December 8th workshop, and we present it to you at this time for review.
Thank you, Jim. And I want to say this, for those who are watching or in the audience, when we pass this today, it's a noise ordinance, but it's an amplified noise ordinance. So if you're out in your yard talking loud, don't call the Sheriff's Department because it's not amplified. If you're on a sound speaker and you're having a party and you're singing at 3 in the morning and the whole neighborhood's woken up, amplified sound. So you got to understand the difference here. And it's got to be measurable for 5 minutes. The past ordinance was 15 minutes, which was very hard to make happen. So those are the changes that we're making, but it's an amplified sound ordinance.
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we're going to open it up for public comments. We have a couple speakers, Mr. Sylvester Slaughter, who would like to speak about the amplified sound ordinance. Mr. Slaughter, please come up, state your name and address for the record. No, this one. Okay. You want to talk about the sound ordinance, sir?
Yes, sir. My name is Derek Slaughter.
Okay, Mr. Derek Slaughter, I apologize then.
I live in Crescent City, 124 Matthews Road, south of Crescent City.
Mr. Pickens said you went to school with him.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay, good. Was he a
Matter of
good
fact,
student?
Bill is the only one on the board that I know. But Me and Bill done had this talk before, and he's tried to help me out real good. But now I come to all of y'all this morning to see if I can get y'all to combine yourself to help us with this ordinance. We got a noise ordinance out in Long Station where I live at. You got people playing music early in the morning, late at night, 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. All you can hear boom, 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 boom. Wake us up, wake you up.
Right, yes, sir.
So, I mean, I got a neighbor. I mean, you know, if it hadn't been for Bill to help me out a little bit, I'd probably been in jail, man.
Well, we're glad
I mean,
that
you know,
Commissioner
I live right next to this guy, and he is, I mean, he will not turn his music down. All you can hear is bass, and it shakes my house.
Yes, sir.
So, we need some help down in Long Station
I understand.
with a noise ordinance.
Wouldn't it be nice if we were all just neighborly? Wouldn't that be
Yes,
nice?
yes.
But since you mentioned Commissioner Pickens, I'm going to allow him, Mr. Rawls, to speak first, if you don't
Okay,
mind.
good, all right.
Mr. Pickens?
Yeah, I just want to say, Derek, we've had many conversations about this, and I will commend the sheriff's office. Colonel Wells and then Hansel Woods has been out to your house many times, and it's frustrating when it's almost like they're tipped off that they're coming. and they
Yes,
turn the music
yes.
off. And 15 minutes is a long time, you know, to monitor really anything, so hopefully this 5 minutes is going to, you know, to help them be able to do their job. And I assume amplified sound is radios and things like that also. So hopefully this will allow us to let them
But Bill, you
be able to
know,
enforce it.
excuse me for cutting you off, Mr. Woods came out to my house one day because I had called him one morning, and him and another officer come out. Instead of them stopping to the guy's house that was playing the music, he come straight to my house. and when he got down there, he tells me that, you know, they would no longer be responding to my calls. So I don't know what's up with that, man.
All right, well,
We'll have to look in that. Hopefully, if we pass this today, it will move us along, you know, where they're able to enforce it. So I
Okay,
hope so.
all right, well, we really need it. We do.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you
thank
very
y'all.
much. Mr. Rawls, you have the
Mr.
floor.
Slaughter,
Mr. Slaughter, would you please?
I totally sympathize and agree with you, and Crescent City doesn't have a monopoly on this. It's right here in the greater Palaca area.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if it's a cultural thing. Some of these younger folks just, you know, like to ride around town.
I don't know either, but they need to have a little respect, sir.
Losing my hearing,
You know?
I'm fixing to get hearing aids, you know, because of loud noises. So I can't imagine what it would be like to be inside the vehicle like that, but I hear it all the time, and loud exhaust and stuff like that. So hopefully we'll hear from Colonel Wells and be able to find out if this ordinance has enough teeth for the sheriff's department to actually do something, because I think in the past that's been the problem.
Right.
And there's no reason to waste their time and efforts if they can't actually get anything accomplished. So I really do appreciate your time coming up.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Mr. Slaughter, hang on a minute. Mr. Adamzak, you have the floor.
Yeah, and my card's right here, so feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'll right up here.
All right,
I'll
sir,
grab
okay.
one. And I didn't want to jump ship because I don't know if Colonel Wells is going to speak, but I've had several complaints on noise, and some of it is amplified, some of it's car stuff. If you could, or Alex, if one of you could explain the difference between amplified from a location and amplified from a vehicle, because there is a difference. I saw Alex, I think you gave a little description on Facebook about the difference in the ordinances, and that amplified from a car won't apply, unfortunately, because it's protected in some ways.
From a car?
Yeah.
Well, wait.
And
Let's let Colonel Wells
Yeah.
address that, Mr. Slaughter.
thank you for your comments. And I will say this, I have gotten some public comment from people that have called me who haven't felt like they got a response from the sheriff's office when they call in on a sound complaint. So I will second what he's saying.
Colonel Wells, you have the floor.
Sure. So I certainly sympathize with Mr. Slaughter, and I think he's exactly right. Mr. Slaughter, I can assure you that when this noise ordinance gets into place, we will respond and we'll handle that. Again, another great working opportunity with our partners at the county. We support this ordinance 100%. It is going to give us an opportunity to bring relief to many of our citizens that need relief from amplified sound. We have already conducted the necessary training inside the sheriff's office to operate the sound meters. The sound meters have been secured. So we are standing at a ready to begin enforcing this ordinance as soon as it's approved. It can apply to motor vehicles. If the motor vehicles are on private property, it would be almost impossible on those that are passing because we need to get the 5 minutes, of the sound to meet the ordinance. But a lot of the issues we get are when motor vehicles are parked in driveways or in people's yards and they party around those vehicles. That would be amplified sound. Anything that's electronically amplified through the radios or whatever would certainly be in the ordinance. The state of Florida had a previous uniform traffic code that didn't allow certain amount of noise from motor vehicles while traversing on public roadways. However, it met some of the same problem our previous county ordinance did in that it was ruled unconstitutionally vague because of wording that said plainly audible. So we do now have an issue with state statute. If you're riding down Reed Street today and you can hear a car coming up Reed Street a mile away, that used to violate a Florida traffic statute. It no longer does because that statute's been thrown. But should this vehicle park along the side of the roadway on the right-of-way, or should a vehicle park on private property and this noise be coming from it, it's absolutely enforceable under this ordinance. We had a great opportunity to work with the county to draft this ordinance. It's everything that we've been asking for to give our deputies something to use to bring some relief to some of the citizens, and we look forward to having this ordinance to aid us help our citizens get some relief from this. So we're in support of the ordinance and appreciate the opportunity to participate in the drafting of it.
Colonel Wells,
Yes.
along the idea of motor vehicle, if it was stopped at a light and the light was malfunctioned for 5 minutes and deputy that could be something that could,
I'll look back at my legal counsel
or
on
if
that and let
traffic
him
was
give me some
slowed
direction.
down for
Yes.
whatever reason, maybe that would work, so.
I think that what we see a lot is, and sometimes, let me address some of the concerns that others of you may have had about the no response. Obviously, the noise ordinance does come in as what we call as a Category 5 or a low priority call. So sometimes the calls could be delayed. You have to always keep in mind that we're covering 860 or 800 plus square miles with about 12 deputy sheriffs on a good day on the street. So obviously things do come in priority. They are triages. They come in by our communications operators and our supervisors in the field to set priority on those. So the time delay very well could exist, but we will have something to respond. We will. What we see most often is, for example, a car will pull up on a vacant lot or alongside the street or on somebody's property, and then the car will be the source of the music that is used for the entertainment for that gathering, and that certainly falls within this ordinance, and I think that is something that we'll be able to address.
Thank you, Colonel.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yes, sir.
All right, is there any other public comment on the noise ordinance? Please come up and state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Sylvester Slaughter, 119 Matthews Road, Crescent City, Florida, 32112. We got a real problem out there with speeders on Old Highway 17.
Okay, right now we're talking noise ordinance. We'll get to that at the end of the meeting.
Oh,
But
okay.
right now it's noise only, okay?
Yeah, well, we do have a problem with noise out there.
Okay, okay.
Because you can hear it in the morning before you wake up, 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. Boom, 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 boom. But I'm glad that I'm retired because I used to drive a tractor trailer and I used to leave home all times of morning. And if I had this problem, I would also be in jail.
Well, let's
Because,
hope
you know, you
Commissioner
have to
Pickens
have
would
sleep.
not let that happen.
You have to have sleep to drive the truck.
Right.
But I'm glad I'm retired.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would there anybody else in the audience like to speak about the noise? Okay, seeing none, we're going to close the public portion and we're going to go to Commissioner deliberations. Commissioner, do you have any comments or a motion to make?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Mr. Rawls.
I'd like to make a motion that we move this ordinance number 2021-004 forward.
I'll second it.
We have a proper motion to move this ordinance, second by Commissioner Rawls and a proper second by Commissioner Pickens. Any further discussion from board members? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, and there's no nays. It's unanimous. Thank you very much, and we appreciate it. We've already done our appointments, So we'll move into County Administrator, Mr. Terry Suggs.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. County Administrator has no additional comments this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Suggs. Mr. Commando.
No report today, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner comments, starting with Mr. Adamsack.
I just wanted to say we had our first town hall meeting in the evening in Barden. 3 of us were able to make it, and hopefully the 5 of us can make it to future ones. And obviously, there's going to be some that we can't all make it to. I know there's one first Monday of the month that I'm not going to be able to be there. So it's absolutely cool. But we had about, I don't know, 30 maybe participants there. So it was pretty nice to see all the people come out and talk to us about concerns. I think going into it, we all felt like it was going to be about the Barden Bridge, and there actually was very little commentary about the Barden Bridge. It seems like they're pretty happy with the progress being made in that front. But we did get a lot of input, and I just want to make sure everyone in Barden knows that I believe that all the commissioners will be working hard on the things that they brought up. They were similar to a lot of the stuff that we brought up during our commissioner priorities meetings. You know, some of it was blight, opportunities economically. One that came up for a while was basically our ability to do more about rehab drug facilities, things like that. You know, that obviously is one of those things that's going to be a public and private type partnership thing to make that happen, to expand those type services in the county. And but I was very excited to attend that, and look forward to future ones. And I guess, Mr. Rawls, if you could tell us when the next one is and where we're going to do it, that'd be great when it's your turn. Thanks.
Yeah, I want to address that real quick. The board is not dedicated the first Monday. We did get a suggestion on that, but we are going to talk about those suggestions at the workshop today. Mr. Rawls, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah. So I've got on the first Monday in March, I'll be in Willaca. The town of Willaca is allowed to use their pavilion. The first Monday in April will be Melrose at Mossman Hall. These meetings are at 6 p.m. So if you guys are available, love to have you there. My intent is to have an outreach to the community, and if it's one of us, 2 of us, 3 of us, 4 of us, I just feel it's important for us to be able to communicate with the public and let the public know what's going on. We have some very, very, very trying times that are facing us right now that us as a board have not even been able to discuss or deliberate on, least of all our economy right now. And if anybody isn't aware, as we speak right now, lumber is about 3 times higher than it was a year ago. So the cost of doing business individually is going up. Anybody that shops for groceries knows that groceries are more expensive. As a county, our cost of doing business is going up. And what that means is we're going to have to expend more revenue, or more dollars, regardless of revenue. So I say this only to let people know that we are looking at some very trying times financially. We've got a lot of issues that people in the county would like us to address. Least of all, and part of what we discussed with Mr. Adams, like Mr. Harvey, is drainage. That's a large concern. Roads, road improvements, road maintenance, trash collection. I think we heard a little bit of everything in Barden. And it was actually ironic that they were happy to have their first stoplight. But
they were.
Yeah.
It was.
But I don't want to rant on anybody's parade. I just think that we need to be practical, and we need to be engaged with the public and let the public know what's going on, where we are. So when issues do come up, there's no shock. There's some things that are predictable right now that I think we need to be discussing. So first Monday in March we'll be in Willaca at the town hall pavilion, and then in April we'll be in Mossman Hall, and I'll reach out to you guys later and let you know what we're doing for May, June, and July. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rawls. Commissioner Pickens.
Okay, are we going to discuss this at our workshop? Because that's what I understood, was you had a tentative list of towns that you wanted, or areas you wanted to have these meetings, and I'm 100% for them. I apologize I couldn't make the one, for this month. But now already, we've already scheduled Willaca, and then I believe Travis Roberts took care of that, and I didn't know about that. And then he's also contacted the town of Pomona Park, which I took the liberty to go ahead and call Pomona talked to the fire department and Miss Diane Glenn in Georgetown to set that one up. And I've also talked to the chairman of the Women's Club, president of the Women's Club in Crescent City. So are we going to talk about this and schedule it, or are you just going to schedule it and let us know when we
No,
need to be there? I understood when we left that that's what was going to happen. If it's not, that's fine with me.
No, I would absolutely love to support and help with it. So if we can get these set up, absolutely, we'll discuss it. But the last time I tried this, I was admonished by the county administrator for reaching out to the commission via email and saying, hey, this is what I have scheduled, and I was told we had to handle it at a meeting. So unfortunately, we only get to talk every 2 weeks, and so it's now's our chance to talk about
Please,
it.
let's have a few minutes at our workshop, and we
Okay.
can get the ones in the south end taken
Yeah.
care of. Pomona Park looks like their community center is closed.
Yep.
So I'll touch base with Kevin Stevens of Park and Rec to see if we can use the one in Lake Como, which is owned by the county. So I do want to thank Dana Jones and Wayne McLean for coming and making a presentation about the update on the business park and the interest there. I mean, this is really big for Putnam County. I was hoping that Camarco would jumpstart it. Maybe they did, or maybe it's just the interest and the way things are selling, in the county. So I think that's really good. The Bassmasters Elite, this is like the third time they've been here in 5 years. This is big. This is a big tournament. These are top 100 anglers in bass fishing in the country. And so what they bring to Putnam County and to showcase Putnam County and Palatka, you just can't put a dollar amount on that, the amount of coverage that we're going to have. So really looking forward to them to coming to town. And I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Do want to say again, item 4D on your agenda for this afternoon, we are going to look at having a meeting for the priorities. One of the priorities was evening meetings that are sanctioned by the county commission, because there will be resources that need to be thrown at it. I appreciate the Barden one, but we got to talk about that. Mr. Suggs, you had a comment?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I just want to address the comment which was made. As county administrator, I think it's not my role to admonish any county commissioner on any subject matter. My role is simply to work with the commission in conjunction with anything that we can simply get information out to our community, and work with them and get any information that way out that we can for meetings and things of that nature. But it is not the county administrator's role to admonish any county commissioner.
If I could real quick, sir, what I'm referring to is the email where I'd sent an email to all the commissioners, I included you in it, and then your reply back to me was, it's inappropriate for you to communicate with them like that. I probably still have the email, I could pull it and show you, but, I understood that, and I was very early on getting elected, and the last thing I want to do was cross the line around violent sunshine law. So I wasn't saying this in any way to be disrespectful to you. It was brought to my attention. I took it for what it was worth, and I've never had a conversation with anybody since then in that sort of manner.
I appreciate it. So we're talking about an issue from 2 years ago.
Good.
I
Well,
just
thank
understand
you.
that we have to do it. So.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I
All right.
appreciate it. Mr. Rawls, you're absolutely right. I'll work with any way I can, but that was a conversation from 2 years ago.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. It wasn't recently by a long
And
shot.
one thing about it, even when I first got here, people that were against the sunshine would say, why don't y'all just go in the back room and work it out and come? We can't do that. We cannot, it's so frustrating that all of us are friends prior to this, and we talk fishing, hunting. Mr. Rawls, how's your house coming along? We can't have a meaningful discussion if it's not publicized and it's not where you can hear it. And I appreciate that. Don't get me wrong. I think we should be as transparent. We live in a glass house. You need to see us in action all the time. We work for you. But it is difficult for us to be, how was your weekend? Good. We can't talk about that. Okay, so just understand that. It's frustrating, but it's also, it allows us to work in public where you can see it. I do want to make some comments. At the last commission meeting, I told you about some joint meetings. I did reach out to Clay County. The administrator and myself and their administrator and their chairman will be talking about the format pretty soon. So if you have some agenda items you would like to talk to, please refer that to Mr. Suggs, And when we sit down, then we'll schedule a meeting with Clay County. The same is going to happen. We're going to have a joint meeting with Flagler, St. John's, and Putnam County. That was the first one that was talked about happening. I think it's important that we do that. When I was chairman the last time, we did have Alachua County in here, and we went to Marion County down in Salt Springs and had joint meetings. You'd be surprised at some of the things that we have in common and some of the things that we can help each other in. So with that said, those meetings are progressing, and we're trying to move that very forward. Today at 4:30 during our workshop, we did invite the Fair Board members to come and talk about opening the fair for the fair event. Mr. Grimes will be there as our public safety director. We've also invited Mrs. Garcia to be in attendance. It was suggested that we not do it at another meeting, that we do it at a meeting when we're together. So if we're still running long in our meeting, we'll stop our meeting at 4:30 and entertain the Fair Board and see what plans they have to open the fair. And that will happen today at 4:30. And I just really want to thank everybody for the opportunity to serve you. I know that might sound self-serving at times, but there's not a commissioner up here that I serve with or have served with that doesn't love this job. And believe me, as much as people think it's a part-time job, some days it's fully consuming of your life, and some weekends. So, but we enjoy it. And there's nothing better than, whether you think we fall on one side or the other, all of us want to listen to all the sides. Unfortunately, we don't get that opportunity, and we're labeled. And that's what bothers me. And I would love to listen to every side of every story. And believe me, there's more than two sides to the story in this business. There's your side, that side, and then there's some other sides out there, and then there's our interpretation of it. But truly, this is the best job that a type A personality could ever ask for in this county, and I love it. Commissioner Rawls, you have your light on, sir?
Yeah, I just wanted to recognize, we have Commissioner Jones in the audience and this morning, and I just wanted to give a shout out to him. Speaking with Mr. Jones and with the mayor, and I brought this up as one of my agenda requests in the future, that we have some meetings with the city and in all the municipalities, obviously, but you know, the city of Palaca is very valuable and very important to Putnam County, and pretty much as Palaca goes, we're all going to go. So just wanted to say appreciate you reaching out to me and the other commissioners like you did, and look forward to working with you.
Mr. Jones, would you like a moment to come up and welcome us, or give, I'm sorry I didn't call upon you earlier. Would you like a moment to, we always want to recognize our esteemed guests and elected officials in the audience. So.
His nickname is Shorty.
You'll have to bring that microphone up to you.
Thank you, commissioners, chair, and everybody here. Yes, I did reach out to the commission because I would like to see a cohesive partnership with the Putnam County Commission and the City of Palaca Commissioners. Being a freshman commissioner, there's a wealth of knowledge here on this diocese. And I wanted to make sure that I reached out to each and every one of you guys so that we could have a relationship going forward. Because as our mantra and our motto at the city now is, we're better together. And we need to reflect that in our community. And so I'm looking forward to working with you guys. And I actually come here as a mentorship, watching you guys operate here. And I think you guys are doing a fantastic job. Since it's at the end of this meeting, I know public comments are over, I won't talk on that. But anyway, yes, looking forward to it. And tomorrow, I actually have a one-on-one. And I would like to talk to you one-on-one, and we don't have to worry about sunshine.
That's right.
That's the good thing about the county talking to a city commissioner. So, all right, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for your presence.
I would like to clarify. Yes, you do have to worry about the sunshine, because you can't.
Nothing that we'll vote on.
Yeah, after our conversation, you can't go and meet with Mr. Adamsack and say, well, Commissioner Pickens feels this way on this issue. So I just want to let you know, because it was an eye-opening experience for me. And it's one of the reasons why we have to take, 4 or 5 hours of training each year.
I've already attended those.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And again, just to clarify, we wouldn't be talking about business. Again, it's the relationship building. We don't know each other. And that's one thing, we have to know each other. And I think even from phone conversation, we're right here from Putnam County, we have the same walk of life.
Right.
And it's just understanding where we're trying to go, because I think we all have the same desires to have Putnam County be a better place. And
Our
that's it.
elected officials are welcome here anytime, and you are too, so you come back at any time you'd like, okay?
And I appreciate that. Just, taking the lead of how you guys handle the internet cafes, I just think that now it's going to transpire to where they're going to move into the city. And I would have liked to see, as the big brother of the county, actually, whatever happens in the county, we kind of maybe adopt the same policies. But we'll see that from.
Well, let me say this. I'm one of the board members for Florida Association of Counties, and I'm also the chair of the Rural Caucus for the association, so the whole state of Florida. Thing that we hate the most is Big Brother telling us what to do on a local level. We're not going to tell you what to do. But if you want to follow suit, you know the guidelines to go by, and you can go follow suit. But we're not going to come and say, you better start doing this. Home rule is important all the way around.
Exactly, and we embrace home rules because we want to be able to make it.
Mr. Adams,
Yes, sir,
you have the
Mr. Chair.
floor.
I just wanted to say to you, I'm really excited to expand the relationship between the county and the city of Palaca, as well as all of our municipalities. And it was something that came up during our county commission. We had a meeting that Mr. Harvey held for us that basically put our priorities forward. And basically the commission as a whole pretty much said we need to work on developing those relationships. So I appreciate you being the first to reach out, and hopefully we can expand on that throughout the city as well as the other municipalities. So thank you.
All right. Thank you,
sir.
Thank you.
I got two more things for Ms. Jones. You and I have to be very careful on anything we discuss regarding the north-south TIFs or the central TIF, because we are both on that committee together. So, but what was the mantra again for the city?
We're better together.
Better together.
So you could substitute synergy for that. It's a really cool word. It means the same thing. It's a lot quicker to get across.
Here we go,
Have a good day.
self-promoting.
That's
Self-promoting our business.
twice today. You've heard that.
That was it.
Right.
It was in our opening prayer this morning. Thank you.
It was, thank you. All right, now we're going to move to item 7. It's our public comment. This is our public comment of miscellaneous items. This portion of the agenda is designed to allow citizens an opportunity to bring matters to the attention of the board. It is not reasonable to expect the board will engage in debate or deliberation about matters on which the board has received no prior information as part of the agenda. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. You will be timed. Public comment cards are conveniently placed in the back meeting room at the entrance and should be submitted prior to the meeting to the deputy clerk over here to my left and your right, who sits at the right of the podium. At this point, I'm going to call our 3 cards that we have. Mr. Newsom, is he here? He's already left? Okay. Ms. Sheila Beck?
Good morning. Sheila Beck, 185 County Road 309C. As y'all know that I have been here for months about the monument. Yesterday marked our 90 days. And we want to have this over. We want unity. We want it on the record. 90 days is over. I do have one thing though. At the beginning, we offered a compromise to raise money for a monument of their choice. I can't believe this person never came to mind. Although it's going to surprise many, let's talk about this person. Terrell L. Hill. He was born and educated in Palaca, Florida. He is the son of Jerome Hill and Annie Ruth Miller. He is a 1990 graduate of Palaca High School. While at Palaca High School, he excelled in both academics and athletics. He received numerous accolades for his accomplishments on and off the playing field. Upon graduating from Palaca High, he earned a football scholarship to Howard University in Washington, D.C. While at Howard University, Terrell continued his athletic career in football and baseball, earning 7 varsity letters. In 1993, he was selected as team captain of Howard University Black College National Championship football team. He also received all academic Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference honors in both sports and was nominated Academic All-American. In 1994, he earned a bachelor's degree in business administration with a concentration on marketing. In 1996, he graduated first in his program with a Master's of Science degree in Athletic Administration Support Marketing. In 1996, Attorney Hill received a full scholarship from the Florida Bar Foundation to attend the University of Florida Levin College of Law. While at the University of Florida, he served as vice president of the Law College Council and received a Book Award, Superior Trial Advocacy. In 1990, Attorney Hill earned his Juris Doctor degree from University of Florida and was admitted to practice law in the state of Florida. His dedication to his community is evidenced by his involvement in organizations such as Young Men with a Purpose Mentor Group, City of Palaca Code Enforcement Board, Georgia Pacific Community Advisory Board, Safe Historic Central Academy CDC Board, Board of Directors of Community Partnership for Children, Board of Directors for St. John's River State College Foundation, founder of Youth Explosions, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
of Palaca, Inc., Academy of Arts and Science Charter School, Putnam County Affordable Housing, Executive Board of Directors and League General Counsel for Putnam Pop Warner Association, NAACP, Any Coaches High School Football and Baseball. Attorney Hill is also a member of the Silo Missionary Baptist Church and Omega PSI Fraternity, Inc., and he was recently inducted into the Putnam County Black History Hall of Fame. So with all of these accomplishments in our community, he shows with hard work, no matter what color your skin is, the sky is the limit. Terrell Hill is the founder partner of
Beck?
Terrell Hill PA. His areas practice are wrongful death, personal injury, and criminal defense.
Ms. Beck, will you wrap it up, please?
Sure. He experiences as a lawyer trial is evident by his strong success record. Oppressed, he was not.
Thank you, Ms. Beck, for attending today. Mr. Adams,
Yeah, I love the idea of commemorating and honoring people that graduated and came from this county. I'm not from this county, and I'm from a county that does have like a sports hall of fame for it. It is a bigger county. The Buffalo Sabres house it in their facility, but there's no reason we couldn't do something like that in the Palaca. And I think the important thing when there is that type of sports hall of fame or something like that, that you recognize not only their achievements in the sport, but also their achievement in life and how that sport activity potentially laid help to making them have those accomplishments in life. So I would love to see something like that. It's something I have talked about with people since I moved here 5 years ago, and I would love to see that type of manner. You know, there's several people, Willie Fells, there's several people that were coaches, Mr. McCool, that I've read about, and that the paper was doing a thing, I don't know if they still do it, where they basically were honoring different sporting events that happen in the county. If we could parlay that into some sort of thing that's tangible that people can go see, I think that'd be a great idea. Thank you.
Mr. Adams. Mr. Rawls?
Yeah, so I think I would be remiss if I didn't say that I've known Terrell Hill, and he and I have been friends for a very long time. Politically, we don't see eye to eye on some issues, but on a lot of things we do, and I really do hope that at some point in time, folks like Terrell that have been a huge impact on this community will get their due accolades and rewards. But I can tell you that Terrell doesn't do it for the notoriety. He works a lot with the youth, and I know with through the downturn in the economy, he was working hard to keep the youth active. He's very engaged, very concerned, and there's a lot of young men and women that have a lot to be thankful for because of Terrell Hill and his accomplishments. So that's all I got.
I agree. Thank you, Mr. Rawls. Mr. David Surden, he here? No? Is there any other people that did not fill out a blue card that would like this opportunity to speak? And seeing no one rush up to the podium, this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you. Excuse me, let me reopen the meeting. I do apologize. Mr. Slaughter, you wanted to talk about, yeah, the problem you had. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me withdraw my, there. Okay. I'm so sorry, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Sylvester Slaughter, 119 Matthews Road, Crescent City, Florida, 32112. I got about 3 issues about the highway out there on Old 17, south of Crescent City. Well, we got a real problem with traffic because it's at an increase. And it increased from about 10% to 100%. And they are riding through the speed limit is 35. And they are doing from 60 up. And they won't slow down. You don't know whether somebody might walk out in the road. It'll all be over. And I've tried to get state troopers out there. I can't get nobody out there. I even went far as going to D-Land to the highway patrol station because no highway patrol wasn't here. And the lady told me, said we was out of her jurisdiction. And I said, lady, Florida is your jurisdiction. No one ever showed up.
Yes.
And we still got this problem.
I think you got 2 people in this room that are listening to you right now, over here to my right and back there in the back. And I believe he's taking notes right now in the back. So.
And we also have another problem with garbage alongside the road. This is a public dump, the road is.
Yes, sir.
From right there where it starts out of Crescent City to the end of 17, where it runs into 17. And there's no signs out there telling you about, $500 for if you caught dumping. It's just garbage. And it's ridiculous. It is.
Over to my left, if you look to that lady back there, that's Nicole Grace with Keep Putnam Beautiful. And I will say trash attracts trash. So if you did a community cleanup out there, we could get signs on the road. I think that would go a long way. And Miss Nicole would be glad to talk to you about that. Trust me.
Okay.
She loves to pick up, well, I don't know if she loves to pick up trash. No one loves to pick up trash, but it's part of our life. And unfortunately, trying to make people be responsible doesn't work sometimes.
And last,
yes, sir.
we have a problem with, it's at First Street. We got guys, I don't know what they are doing, but they'll park in the road, park alongside the road, and traffic is coming. They stop in the road. And then if you try to, maybe create something to get by, then they're going to get hostile with you. So we need to address that too. Because you're not allowed to park in the roadway, I know, but they do it.
I think they just heard you. I'm going to let Commissioner Pickens go first. That's his district, so Commissioner Pickens.
Yeah, Sylvester, definitely I'll get with Mr. Stroxel, who's head of Public Works, and we'll get some signs there. Probably these people that are throwing that stuff up are not going to pay attention to that sign, but sometimes it does help, so we'll get some no littering signs out there. And if you see just regular trash, that's one thing, but if you see some illegal dumping, please call me, because we're seeing kind of an explosion in the south end of that, and I've talked to Sheriff Donnie Jordan, Deputy Jordan, and he's the agricultural sheriff, and he'll go inspect that. I mean, he'll look through it and see if he can find an address. If he has to, he'll put up cameras in the area to see. So they are trying to do something with that, but we're seeing a lot of illegal dumping around.
Yeah, because I think some people just bring their old furniture and anything they can find, and just dump it right there side the road.
Yeah. So.
It's really bad.
Commissioner Ross.
I think Commissioner Pickens pretty much said it. The Sheriff's Department has been actively writing citations, correct, Colonel Wells? Yeah. And they're making arrests for what you're describing. So if you get Colonel Wells, give him the areas, they can put that under surveillance and potentially catch folks who are illegally dumping. Because it's not just in the south end of the county. I can tell you, yesterday on Facebook, there was something that people were posting about, the amount of trash in Putnam County. And, it's not Putnam County's nature or culture to be trashy, but some people just don't care. That's rude and disrespectful, and that's where we have to hold our fellow citizens accountable if we see them. But otherwise, the sheriff's department's our only defense in that.
Thank you, Mr. Rawls. Mr. Adams?
So I agree. I mean, this is actually the number one complaint I've gotten since becoming commissioner is trash on the sides of the roads, which was surprising to me. I didn't expect that to be the biggest call volume that I get, and it is. So I think the way we move forward is beyond what we're doing now. We have to probably in workshop find a way to bring Miss Grace, the sheriff's office, the commission together to figure out other ways to educate the public, to get more signs out there at the key pinch points, which Mr. Troxel has done so at my request for some key areas in my district, and we need to do that throughout the county, and maybe discussing further enforcement. I think our county attorney said in the one meeting when we were talking about objectives that maybe the penalization could be in lieu of a fine, that you do cleanup on a Saturday or what, something like that. So maybe people get a feel for how much trash is actually out there in our community. There's different things I think we can go. The bottom line is until we somehow find a way to change the mentality of the people who are throwing the garbage out their windows or dumping trash and couches all throughout our neighborhoods, and it's not just yours. I mean, I live on a private road, and the one day there was 2 couches and a mattress there in the middle of our road, and we have no idea in the middle of the night who came there and did that. Now, luckily we brought it all out to the front, and our neighbors, we took care of it, but it's unfortunate everywhere in the county. So it's something that we need to work on, not just in your area, but everywhere. And thank you for bringing that to our attention in public forum.
And I also want to say, what was said by Commissioner Pickens is true. A lot of times people might come up and think, oh, we just gave them lip service and you walk away. And that's not the truth. There was a case out in my district where roofing materials were dumped. And Deputy Jordan went out there. He found a bill inside those roofing shingles, called the people. And what happened, they had hired a contractor, and the contractor on his way home just decided he didn't want to go to the dump, and he just stuck it. So let me assure you, he picked up all that stuff around that area. So it's not just lip service. Give us a holler when you see something like that take place. We're going to be glad. We don't want a dirty county. Nobody wants to see. You were in the audience when we talked about the business part. We can't sell property out there and attract businesses to a nasty area. It's not going to work. And we want to clean Putnam County. And I tell you what, Nicole has done a fabulous job, but I worked with her. I worked with 2 people behind her, and I drove out into a lake one time with my big 4-wheel drive not far from Mr. Rose's house back there, loading up beer bottles that people just flung out in the lake. Well, what would happen if your child went out there and caught a fish and went out in the water to retrieve it and cut his foot all up? That doesn't need to happen anymore. We've got to take now you'd have pulled up that lake thinking that's a pristine area until you stepped off into that and cut yourself up. So please be a part of that solution. We want to make Putnam County cleaner. Thank you so much. Is there any other public comments? Ms. Beck, you may come to the podium.
Sheila Beck, 185 County Road 309C. Years ago, on my road, there was not allowed tractor trailers. It was not a throughway. I'm not sure what year they started letting the tractor trailers go back down that road. Now, mind you, the beginning of that road is probably 10 or 12 houses, and then the rest is just a straightaway, okay? So now we have these tractor trailers that are coming up this road, breaking up the side of the road. I called Public Works. They come out. They put dirt there. What do you think happens when it rains? Comes all down into the yards. Then y'all took the 4-way stop away from there. St. John's Avenue to Francis Church to 309C. They call it Springside Cutoff.
Right.
How do we...
down there.
Okay, how do we go about, number one, getting the side of the road fixed? Because you got trucks that are just regular pickup trucks that are coming down the road. When they get to where the houses start, the sides of the roads are all broken up and the trucks are falling off. The trailers are, swinging. And if anybody parks there, their car's getting demolished. So how do we go about not letting the tractor trailers, not making that a throughway anymore to the big tractor trailers? And the speed? They
don't
need
know
to find
how-
a different place to hide on 309C because they all know where they sit.
So you're saying cars are parked in the county right away and getting almost hit by cars?
Well, I park in front of my house, of course.
In the county right away?
I don't know what it is. It's
Well, I mean,
beyond my
is it outs-
fence.
Is it outside your gate or inside your gate?
It's outside my gate.
Well, I mean, you can't park there. You can't put stuff out
Okay,
there.
I have two detectives.
I-
I have
I-
detectives that live 2 houses down that park both of their cars in
If you
front of their
will,
house.
get with Mr. Troxel. He's sitting right back there. He's waving his hand at you right now.
I'm just asking, how do we go about getting it
I don't know how
fixed?
we can do that because that is a thoroughfare for businesses, for the mill, for those trucks to go.
For the
They've-
log
And
trucks?
they've done it my whole life. I grew up on Springside
No,
Cove.
that road was
No, I'm
not a
telling you.
throughway.
It was. I lived down there when Uncle Fred's bar was there. Do you know where that's at?
Well, no.
He used to
Okay.
work
I
in
don't
there
think I'm
to
as old as
pick
you
and
are.
save.
But thank you very much, Mr. Adamzak.
Yeah, and Sheila, just so you know,
In the snow.
I think from talking to Mike Troxel, and I don't know if Mike, if you could address this today at all, but we investigated a dead-end street where tractor trailers are coming through. Really, the only restriction you have on a tractor trailer is the weight limit, right, of the road?
Right.
So really, they can go any road they want in the whole county unless there's a weight reason why they can't, is my understanding, so.
Okay, but that's
There really
okay,
is no
but then
way for us
fix
to
what
limit
they
that.
break.
Well, we can get Mr. Troxel on the weight limit.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure you knew that. We can't stop tractor trailers from going on any road in the county, except for maybe private roads, all the people in that community may be able to. But
Thank you, Ms. Beck. No, we're not gonna do that. Ms. Beck, thank you. Is there any other public comment? All right, if hearing no other public comments, this meeting is now officially adjourned. Thank you.